Okay, today we're going to check brood. They're just starting to get sun. It was another cool morning. It's June 8th or 9th. And we're still getting cool mornings, but at least the temperature's going up during the day. They're just getting active. It was in the 60s last night. And I guess there's some bright orange on that guy. Pretty cool. I like that look on her. So these ones, I guess, are a little more active because the sun's been here a little longer. The sun's just coming up over the trees. Okay, so we're going to check brood. I said my tops, I have these scrubby pads fit. This keeps bugs out but lets ventilation through. And then take the feeder off. The feeder is empty. Okay. Let's leave the feeder on until we get the smoker going. And I just jam the torch and let it sit in there for a little while till it gets going. It saves all the... I've seen people spend a lot of time trying to get a smoker going. This I find is easiest. I like easy. And this is last video I did was just checking the bees, and I was sick then, and I'm still getting over it. So I don't know how long that's been, but it's been a long time, longer than probably the longest I've ever been sick. I think it's the flu. Okay, so you're getting some white smoke. As you can see, it only takes a second, and it's going. So I'm going to tell them all to calm down. All the hives that are here. Got 5 hives total. There's no real breeze on it. It's coming out of the north, barely anything, so I'll leave the smoke. Now I'm going to work on this hive. So let's okay. We're going to take this deep off. And that's light. I haven't been filling that yet. Let's see, we're going to also check traps. Got these oil traps. I cleaned them out with the garden hose. And there's 2 new hives from cutouts, and I've got mite strips for those because those new hives, one of them was real bad with mites. You could tell because the wings are all bent, crooked on a bunch of the bees. So I'm going to treat them since they're not going to produce honey anyway. These are the combat roach poison in a real thin CD case, and I broke out each middle of each end, and I put a little piece of tape across the whole corner here on both corners, so this way the bees can't open it, and the beetles can certainly get in there and enjoy a nice meal, their last. Okay, I'm going to take the covers off of all of these so we don't have any robbing going on, because I'm working on one hive and not. If I was going to work up top and just feed or whatever, I'd get up on the trailer. I'm going to put cinder blocks and railroad ties, and I'm going to put them down off this trailer so I can use the trailer. But it sure came in handy because I'm tall. And what's nice about these bricks, because if you look here, the opening is pretty wide. The bricks are nice because you can set the opening size to what they can protect. And see how they're coming in Now during the heat of the day, there'll be a couple waiting to get in, and that's good because they can really protect that little hole. And as the colony gets bigger, you can see the feeder's completely empty. As the colony gets bigger, they'll need that. Alright, so let me pull this deep off. I was hoping they'd draw this out, but they really haven't. They're starting to draw it out, but they haven't really done much in there, which isn't good. I was hoping they'd do more than that. But it's been a cold, cold spring. You know what? I didn't make any of these feeders. These are nice beetle feeders. See that? I'm going to keep that away when I do that. They'll eat the Crisco, then they'll go in. While they're eating the Crisco, there's boric acid in there, not a ton. You see not much comes out, and it sticks to the Crisco. When they eat the Crisco, they also eat the boric acid. And that's why we didn't see one beetle running around, because I have that trap. Plus I have, let me just give these, I mean they're pretty calm, but just give them a little. And these beetle traps are cheap, the oil ones. You have to kind of pry them from both sides lightly, otherwise you buy another beetle trap. And every year they go up 20 cents or something. Now I think they're $1.30 a piece or something. Pretty soon they'll be $10 a piece. Okay, so as you can see, hopefully, there's only a couple of beetles in there, which is fantastic, and not one bee is harmed in the making of this film. Alright, so that is that. Now we can check on this brood. Get a frame holder. Now we're going to start from the end. I don't know. I think we're high enough where you can see. Okay. I just loosen each end. You can go down the row. I don't know how many we're going to pull out. But just loosen them all so you don't damage the frames. And if one's stuck, you can work on it. Whether you try and pry it out, you can end up breaking it or... Okay, so both sides of each are loose. I really don't use frame holders to pull them out. This one's nice. They've got capped honey. I've got a bunch of pollen, and they're working real hard, but both sides. Okay, so what we're going to do is have it the way it was in. We're going to put it on the holder, and then we'll go for the next one. The reason why we go from the outside in is because, and we're going to pull out and then lift, because we don't want to hurt the queen. This is a heavy, filled with honey. I wanted to get to the brood and see why the brood is must be so small, because they're not really running into the second brood chamber, which I was kind of hoping they would. Okay, now here's brood, and it's pretty solid. There's lots of larvae in there. Looks like they're doing well. It may be just because they swarmed and there's just a small quantity. I don't see an area larva, but I'm not seeing an area where she'd be laying on this frame. I'm kind of thinking she's not here. I don't want to bug them too much. Check the next one. Pull it out and then up. Solid brood. don't see her on there. Solid brood, pretty solid brood. And where it's not solid, it looks like there's they might have just emerged, or some that emerged. Okay, so we've got quite a bit of brood. Now we're out of room on the holder. So that is 4 frames. There's 2 frames. Let's see, I don't remember now. See how many frames of brood. 1 here. One here. That's 2 frames of brood, and this is, I think this is honey. So 2 frames of brood. It looks like honey, which means there should be 2 more frames of brood, so 4 frames of brood. So this is still really not a big hive. And that explains why there's no honey super on it. This was a swarm that I picked up a month ago. They're building pretty good. So let's see, we're going to treat them because this is one of the swarms, even though I know they don't have, these don't have the bent wings like the other one does, but still, I'm going to treat this swarm because it was recommended I do by an awesome beekeeper, Odell Brown. So they've only got 1 frame that they haven't filled up. The other one, the next one in, is pretty loaded. I'll show you. Here, we'll go from the other side. They've got this drawn out. They've got nectar in it. Lots of nectar in there. So this deep is 90% full, or thereabouts. That's why I have the second deep on. And I don't see a beetle problem or anything, so I think they're doing good with it. Okay, so we're going to... This has got half of the treatment left. There's at least half of the ones that aren't open yet from the beetles. Put that back. We're going to also add the oil one back. And the oil is a little tricky. You have to find an area where it'll fit in. The bees kind of bring the comb out quite a bit, and you want it to fit all the way in flush with the frame. So there's a little, let's see if I can get it all the way flush. Okay, that's all flush. Alright. So then we're going to add one of these puppies. Oh, and 2 strips. Because that's one of the... This one was the used one. Let's see what that looks like. This goes here. Okay, so they make these super easy to tear, it looks like. Okay, not too bad. Right, so there's an opening, so if the queen is under there, she can get back into the hive. The smoker's still working. Not very. Get her going strong again. There we go. Alright. Let's look at the other one, next one. Okay, we're going to have to keep feeding these guys. They're still building. empty feeder. This is a new style feeder. It's got little ridges there. I think these are so much better, stronger, so much better than the old style. Oh, here's something I tried. I don't know if it'll do any good or not, or help, but the hive beetles can get through the screen, or even the 1/8" screen. So this is mainly critters out, like the mice. Then I put a fine mesh screen, it's basically a window screen, on the inside. So you got your mice, they can't get in the bottom. And here, I don't think the bees will eat through it or anything, we'll find out. And I'm hoping, I don't think beetles can get through this at all, the window screen, or moths. So I think this will prevent a lot of bugs from getting in and causing problems. So I'm going to try that. This hive had a beetle problem, so I'm going to use it on this hive. And the top. Looks like they ate some of that. And I don't even know if they can even get into the middle of that. So I'm going to change these out. Because I don't think there's an opening. They can only grab some of it. So I'm doing this, I'm running it around here. Not only doesn't it get out the little holes, but the middle is protected. I didn't realize that. And this way the beetles can really get at it. So I'm going to be swapping them all out with that. Pull the lid off of this. I forgot to do that before. Okay. This way they all will be protecting their own hives. Okay. This has got a super on it. I'm going to give them a little bit in there. Now we're going to pull this brood chamber off and take a quick look. I don't know that we're going to pull a bunch of frames out because this is a nice hive and I'm hoping to get a little honey for once. Wouldn't that be nice? That's heavy, very heavy. You know, if I can lift it to put... Oh, that's heavy. Okay. I was able to. Alright, so let's see what the super looks like. It's all new, so they're having to draw it out. And they're drawing it out, but they're still not filling it. I look at the center first because if they've done the center, then they'll be working from the center out. So I check the center first. No beetles seen. And getting a cutout with lots of beetles and still not seeing beetles in these hives is pretty phenomenal. So that's why I use all these beetle traps, because I just hate beetles and don't want them. And this trap too, let's go out of the way of the bees so I don't put any dust there. See some dust come out. So you want to try and just put a little dust in the middle and then seal it, because you want the dust to stick. And you see where the beetles have opened that, otherwise dust wouldn't come out. And the beetles will die because they eat the Crisco with the dust on it. So that's what happens there. Alright, so then I've got you can't see because I'm two up. I can move it and then show you. Hopefully. Okay. It's heavy. So we've got the oil feeder here as my second line of defense against beetles. And as you can see, there's 5 beetles. So that's not bad. I thought that hive had a big beetle problem, and I'm going to go with it probably doesn't have a big beetle problem. More of a small hive beetle problem. Get it? Okay, so this deep, they're still working on, because they've drawn this out, but they haven't filled it. So that's another hive. These are all small hives. I just was never able to get decent hives last year. this year they seem to be doing pretty well. Now I've got all kinds of traps and things here on this brood chamber, and that's in the center. I'm going to swap that out with a good one, the new style. There's no bees underneath. There was one. Okay. Because new style is everything. They're a little. Let's give them a little bit of. There we go. Now, for some reason, this plastic always collects. Don't ask me. Just does. And every time I go in here, I have to scrape the plastic off. This time is loaded with honey. And you can see them sopping it up. Okay. We've got an oil trap in here. Pry that gently. I heard little cracks. I wonder if I damaged it. I want to be careful because you really don't want to crack it and have it leak into the hive. It's not good. Only one beetle, 2 beetles in there. That's phenomenal. The trap is doing wonderful. Whatever we're doing for preventive is working great. Okay, now we've also got a what is it? Some kind of acid in here, that powder. But the beetles have really gone into this one. I don't know if you can see. Let's dump out any extra. Okay, they got it all. They've gone into this one pretty good. They've been eating it. I guess it's turning it color. The Crisco was white. You can see where some are open. So they've done real well with that. Now, since we're checking brood, I don't know if we still have battery left on this camera, but let's check brood on here. And like I said, when you get one where they're very active, I'll loosen each one of these. I guess it notifies them too that I'm going to be moving them. It seems to cause less problems. I don't know if I'm going to go all the way with this. Probably not. Let's just stop there. And then start at this end. The other end still had one they were drawing. This has pollen and nectar. Nothing capped yet. Pollen, well, some pollen. Mostly nectar on that side. And the next one has brood already. Nice. Good pattern. The ones that are, I don't know if you can see in there, the ones that are open have larvae, so they haven't been capped. Very dark brood cappings. Okay, so that's brood, that's brood, that's brood. It looks like there's a lot of brood in this chamber. So it's not full of brood, and it's not full, so I'll just leave them. I'm not going to move a brood up, because I don't know that I need to. Odell will look at this and tell me what he thinks. And then I'll have an update video with anything he says. But that looks like a good deep brood. Now I'm going to also move this forward, giving them access to the bottom screen. Plus it's getting hotter, so I want more air to flow through that bottom screen because it's a ventilation. Now what we're going to do, seeing as this one did have a beetle problem, I'm going to change out the bottom on this one. Yeah, so they're hanging on the side of this one too. I don't know. It must be a thing, like a place to hang out, like the mall. Oh, it's heavy. Okay, bottom board has a bunch of drones on it, and there's some bees hanging at the bottom of it, and no clusters, so no queen. So I don't want to dump these yet because they're going to be pissy, but they don't have an entrance yet. So I'll just hang it over here for a little while. Let's clean our work area. There's one beetle. I saw a live beetle. That's the first live beetle I've seen. So, not too bad. There's another one. See, hanging at the bottom. I'm really thinking that's how they get in. The bottom screens. Okay, so we want to keep them from hanging at the bottom. So we're going to put this here. We put the metal screen facing down, and this one has room for that they can get through, so we don't need to move it too much forward or anything. And then there's a fine anti-beetle screen there. Okay, so let's put this back on. I think I crushed a bee. They move pretty quick. Alright, and then we need the reducer. Okay. Hopefully it fits. Okay, hopefully it smells alright. We're going to put it like this, give them a little entrance, because there's also a spot, it looks like a little tiny thing they have to fill with propolis. There's a little hole there too. So this side will have this much of a hole for them. And they've got to be able to smell an entrance, start going in there. It's in the same spot, so they should. The thing is, it's been painted and it's new, and it doesn't smell like the entrance that they had before. So, alright. Now let's get these guys. Get some smoke going. Okay. Let's just get these guys to go back in so I don't crush any. Do not like to crush them. Alright, and then we'll put the next deep on. It's heavy, so they're working on this deep, filling it with honey. Doesn't help me any. I was hoping they'd have brood in there and have this hive cranking, so then they could work on the super, but obviously that's not happening. So we'll keep feeding them out until they build out this second deep. Oh, you know what I forgot? Beetle treatment. Let's not ever forget beetle treatment. They need food too. Guys are starting to get a little pissy. Okay, we got this one. We got these. We'll put this back. And we'll give them oil. You know, they get antsy now. The hive's a mess. Antsy. Bees are getting antsy. That's fine. Alright, so now I've got to get them out of the way so I can get in without killing them. Alright. Put the deep on there. Again. Beetle treatment. 1, 2. And 3. Okay. Get back in there. Come on. Get back in there. Get in there. Alright. The feeder. There's a bunch in the feeder. I should have left the lid on. Get the brush, wherever that is. There it is. And get them out of the feeder. Come on, get out of there. And take the feeder off. Okay, and now the feeder. And now the feeder. Okay. I don't want to go fast with them, but I don't want them in the feeder either. Okay. I guess they found there was some residual sugar water left, so that got them going. My bad. Alright. Now they should calm down. Alright, now I can knock these guys off of here. Okay. They can all go back into their hive, which they're doing. You see they're all piling in, so they're back happy. Okay. I really don't think there's any video left, or battery left, or whatever. I'm sure it's shut down, but in case it's not, let's check the third hive. Super is being drawn out, starting to be drawn out. Okay. Beetle feeder needs to be swapped out with the new style. It works better. Okay. Oil feeder. Let's just move this so you can see it. There's a heavy, deep. Oh, I had a super on there. Were they drawing that out? Yeah. So let's put that back on there. Me no thinky. There we go. As long as they're drawing it out, enough bees to draw it out. Let's keep them working. All right. Now, let's pull this deep off. Might be almost out of juice, smoke juice. Probably enough to give them an idea what's going on. There we go. Yeah, it was. I'm gonna have to paint this. It's starting to get black mold on it. All right, so pull this deep off. Now this has, I think the oil went to the top. I think there might have been too much oil in here because it looks like some dead bees in the oil feeder. Well, there's a bunch of beetles. Probably 20 beetles or so, and some dead bees. So that means I had the oil too high. Let's dump a little out. There we go. Very easy to adjust. Okay. And this feeder we're going to swap with the good feeder, new style. Okay. Oil feeder on this. 7 or so beetles. But the main thing is these frames, so it doesn't tip over and lose oil. Okay. The main thing is you don't see beetles running around the lid. You don't see beetles running around the frames. Makes me happy. Okay, so this is the top deep. Oh, they're kind of stuck. They're still drawing it out. Got that drawn out pretty good. Let's check the center. Drawn out, filling with, I wonder why it's dark. Filling with nectar, so they're working hard. Kind of weird where they built that. Oh well. Strange bees. Alright. It's not deep. They're working on this deep. They've got this all drawn, but nothing filled on either side. See, I didn't loosen these. Nothing filled. They only got pollen and nectar on both sides. Okay. They're doing okay. They're just not. They must have swarmed. I've got to figure out the swarm situation, how to keep from losing so many bees when they swarm, because this was a big hive. And now it's one that's got to build up. So, should we go into, I really don't think we're recording, but I guess we should, just in case we are recording. Let's go into the brood. We'll start from the other side, because we already know that this side is kind of lacking. I'll loosen each one of these. Let's give these some smoke if there's any left. Kind of getting agitated. Okay. I don't think there's much in there left. Okay. Now, pull the end one out. Yep, I was right. They're building from the left. They're filling up that. A lot of nectar, a lot of pollen on both sides. It's heavy. Which means brood, very dark brood. I wonder what the deal is with that. Oh, Odell, you'll have to tell me what the deal is with the dark brood. Same thing. I don't know. Same thing. So, and at the bottom, I don't know if you can see in there, down the bottom, there's some larvae, just a few, but that's the only hive. I see a few larvae dropped out. I don't know what the deal is with that. We'll move this forward. Let's check the next frame. A lot of larvae in there. I'm not seeing that the queen's really building up a lot or doing a lot. Maybe there's just not a ton of bees after a swarm to support what she's doing. Maybe that's why. That would explain why there's larvae down there. There's not enough bees to feed all of what the queen can do. Okay, that makes sense. All right, that's that. I was hoping it was doing better than that, but you can't have everything. Where would you put it? And that concludes the checking of the brood. Don't do it very often because you can see what the bees are doing by just watching the entrance. But I also did want to, well, Odell had asked for a video checking the brood, but I also wanted to check the feeder situation, the beetle feeder situation. So I don't have any corrugated feeders. I'm going to have to make some more unless I have any in the bottom of my bucket. Look at that, I've got one, but it's empty. The beetles got that completely empty. Okay. Oh, look, I've got another one. And that side isn't empty. This is crushed. No, looking the wrong way. That one's completely empty. Alright. So I'm going to make more of these feeders. I'm just going to keep these out from getting damaged. Okay, so I'll have to make more. This is one more in there. Yeah, make more. I got this beetle feeder.